Over the last 2 years, I've gone on a journey, well, both kind of physical and emotional journey, to release some things that I've been holding on to for a long period of time. The journey I went on was a forgiveness journey, and it was amazing. It really was. So it talks about, forgiving people, and that's the right thing to do. And so that all sounds nice, right? But in reality, what we've come to believe is that when we hold anger or bitterness or jealousy or any sort of negative emotion for someone or an event that's happened, it actually affects you in a very negative way. And don't get me wrong, I understand there's a lot of heavy things out there that happen to people, either yourself or someone you love. And so this is not light. It's not light at all. But it is a choice. And that sounds so simple, but it is so profound, because at the end of the day, it is a choice to forgive anything, the most horrible offenses to someone cutting you off, while you're driving down the road. So, but, it's not easy. No, not easy at all. So when I started my journey, I started to think of, just kind of the first thing that would pop in my mind. And sometimes that may be something that's really, really heavy. So you might think, well, I don't know if I want to start with that. Maybe I'll start with something that's not as heavy. You choose to forgive it. You choose to forgive. You kind of set yourself back to that moment and feel those emotions. And if you can meditate, that's great. You don't have to sit, crisscross applesauce, I think is what they call it now, and, chant or anything like that. But meditation is amazing. And of course, it doesn't include, chanting. I don't know. I guess there's different variations of it. But for me, I just sit quietly in a place that feels peaceful to me. But with that being said, you don't have to do that. So you can just take a walk. Taking a walk is amazing. I take lots of walks. And if you can do it somewhere where there's nature, with some trees and stuff, or you can do it by water, or just, anywhere outside, and just having some time to yourself, right? So music helps, but also just being quiet is really good too. So if you can pick that one thing and choose to forgive it, right? You don't have to understand it. You don't have to say, well, they did this, and why did they do this? Or I don't understand, and because they did this, this happened. Or I don't understand why they would choose to do this, or I don't understand why they did this to me or someone I love. So I can tell you, it's not up to you to understand. It is just not up to you to understand. Once you can let go of that, then that really helps. So, well, one is a choice. Two, it's not up to you to understand. And three, especially for the heavier or even medium-sized stuff, it's not a one-time deal, right? So what'll happen is you'll forgive, and it'll come back up, and then you'll choose to forgive again, and it'll come back up. And you'll have to keep doing that over and over again. But you'll notice each time it becomes lighter and lighter and lighter. And you might even be challenged. Someone might do something similar, or something that reminds you of something they did, or something may come up that has affected you because of that person doing that. So it'll come back up. It doesn't want to go away easily, because it weighs on you. It really does. It takes your light, which is bright and beautiful, and kind of dims it a little bit, just because you're carrying that. So the person that did this to you, more than likely, not even thinking about your pain, not even consumed by your worries or your anger. But you are, and it's heavy, and it eats you up inside. So the person or the thing that offended you, or offended someone in your family, is continuing to hurt you, because you're continuing to hold on to the anger and the pain of that experience. So, and I've done this myself, it feels like using it as your energy, right? Like, oh, well, this person did this, and so therefore, I'm going to be upset, and I'm going to use this to power myself forward, right? I'm going to use this to make decisions. I'm going to use this to hurt other people. I'm going to use this to be mad. Like, I have a right to be mad, right? And of course, everyone has a choice to be upset about something. But the thing is that if you continue to carry that, you're affecting yourself. You are weighing yourself down. You are dulling your light. You are preventing yourself from moving forward. Because not only did they do this offensive thing, but you're carrying those negative emotions around. It's not going to change. And it's not up to you to understand. It really is not. So when you start asking your questions like, why did they do this, or why did this happen, that it's just needless. It's really needless energy, because you just have to say, this happened. And of course, you want to prevent from happening again, so you learn and you move on. But I forgive. I forgive. And that is absolutely a choice. And everyone has that choice. And I said to myself, I had forgiven somebody that still does the same things kind of over and over again. And I noticed once and I said, well, how do you forgive someone that still is, doing the same things over and over again? And so, and this is a person that's, in my family, nothing physical, more of just being able to depend on them type situation. So obviously it was something to where I still wanted the relationship to continue, but I still was upset by not being able to depend on someone that is close to me in my life. So I just would forgive them and forgive them and forgive them. And then eventually, it just became a non-issue. I think maybe part of it I was projecting onto them, because it was something that I was holding on to. So there was a possibility that I was even looking for that in them. But yeah, it really turned out to be a positive experience. But I know that's not real heavy. That's just something lighter. And I know that there's heavy things out there. But regardless of how heavy it is, 100%, it is your choice. It is absolutely your choice. You have that inside of you to say, I am not going to carry this around anymore. You are not going to affect me. These negative emotions are not going to cause me stress. They're not going to cause me anxiety. They're not going to affect me in a negative way, both emotionally and physically. And I choose to let it go. I choose to let go, and I choose to forgive you. And I will do it over and over again until it's gone, because I am not going to allow you to hurt me any longer. Right? And eventually, after a period of time, I just became a forgiveness warrior. I was just forgiving everyone. I'll go back to that. So yeah, I was forgiving everyone, and I was even forgiving people for other people. I didn't even know them. I just became like a warrior of forgiveness, because I just saw how heavy and how it affects you, So it's almost interesting. So it's almost like the effect of whatever the act that they did, that you're holding on to, often is something that doesn't last over a long period of time. But the hurt and the anger and the pain and, jealousy even, it's something that will last, or can last, if you allow it to, over a long period of time. So that actually is doing more damage to you than you realize. So there was an interesting movie I watched called The Shack, and that was some heavy stuff in that movie, and the actor had to choose to forgive this person for what they did, and so it was very heavy. But there's a lot of neat stuff in that movie. I'm throwing it out there, lightly, and I'm smiling and stuff, but honestly, I know that it's not easy, but you absolutely do have a choice. You absolutely do. So I'll encourage you to start that forgiveness journey. And if you need to start small, start small. But I'm telling you, there'll be a point where you're going to see and feel the difference, and you're going to say, heck yeah. And when someone does something, to you, or you see something happening that's like, offensive, or, even driving, and then you're going to say, no, you're not putting that on me. Like, I forgive you because I am not carrying that around, So it's interesting. It really is. I hope this receives you well, and I hope everyone's doing well with the quarantine. I know it's a struggle for some, so I just want to put that love and light out there for everyone. The world is going through it for the most part. So, yeah. All right, well, take care, and you got this.